I knew something was wrong the second I stepped through the front door. My cat, Luna, always came running, her little paws skittering across the floor, her soft meow demanding attention before I could even drop my bag. But that evening, nothing. The house felt hollow. Too still, too quiet. "Luna?" I called once. No jingle of her collar. No thud of her jumping off the couch. No answer. I walked into the kitchen, and my mom, Linda, didn't even glance up from wiping the counter. "Mom, where's Luna?" She exhaled like I was bothering her. "We sold her," she said casually. "Jason's kids needed new phones. You'll be fine." I froze. For a moment, I couldn't breathe. "You sold her?" I whispered. They laughed in the living room like it was a joke. But it wasn't. 2 days later, I found Luna and bought her back. And when my family discovered what I'd done, they screamed. The silence in the house didn't fade, it thickened. It clung to the walls, to my breathing, to the pounding heat rising up my neck. I stood there in the kitchen doorway staring at my mom, Linda, as if she had just spoken a language I'd never heard before. "You sold her?" I repeated. My voice wasn't even mine anymore. It sounded thin, hollow, almost distant. Mom shrugged, still wiping down the counter like she was cleaning away a coffee spill instead of detonating my entire world. "She's a cat, Emma," she said. "Jason's kids needed new phones for school. You'll be fine." I felt my stomach drop so fast I almost reached for the counter to steady myself. "A cat?" I whispered. "She's my cat. She's my—" "Emma." She cut me off with that dismissive tone she mastered years ago. "Don't be dramatic. You're 23, not 12. From the living room, I heard the sound of a soda can popping open. My dad, Mark, muttered, "We figured you wouldn't mind. It's not like Luna pays rent." My breath hitched. Not because of the words my family had always been skilled at turning affection into insults, but because they truly believed it. They believed they could take whatever belonged to me, and I would just accept it. "Where is she now?" I asked again, louder this time. Jason's voice floated in from the couch. "Oh my God, Emma, do you have to turn everything into a scene?" "Mom sold the cat. Move on." Heat flashed through my chest, so intensely I actually felt dizzy. I stepped into the living room. Jason didn't even look up from his phone, scrolling like nothing mattered, not my feelings, not my pet, not the fact that my cat had been traded away for electronics his kids would break in 3 weeks. "Tell me where she is," I said. That finally made him look up. He raised a brow. "Why? You gonna buy her back or something?" His wife Hannah snorted. "Well, good luck. Mom said the buyer didn't even want a receipt. Cash only." They laughed. All 3 of them. My mother's short, irritated huff, Jason's amused scoff, Hannah's mean little giggle. And I stood there, my hands shaking, my throat burning, watching the people who were supposed to love me treat something precious as disposable, because I was disposable to them too. I backed away slowly, heart pounding, vision blurring around the edges. "Emma," Mom called after me. "Don't slam anything. It's just a cat." I've not tanned. Just a cat. I walked upstairs, each step heavier than the last, until I reached my room. Her blanket was still on my bed, her toys still in the corner, her bowl still half full from that morning. Everything was here, except her. I sank onto the floor, gripping the blanket to my chest, Luna's fur still clinging to the fabric like she hadn't been ripped away from me hours ago. That was the moment something in me shifted. Something broke. And something woke up. They thought this was the end of the conversation. They thought I would swallow it like every other betrayal. But they were wrong. Because this time, they took the one thing I could not live without. And I wasn't going to let it go. I didn't eat dinner. I didn't go downstairs. I didn't even turn on the lights. I sat on the floor of my room with Luna's blanket in my lap, the glow of my laptop screen burning into my eyes as I typed, refreshed, scrolled, searched over and over again. If they sold her, someone had her. And if someone had her, I could find them. Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, pet rehoming groups, local rescue listings, anything within a 200-mile radius. My fingers flew across the keyboard like my life depended on it, because in a way, it did. The more I searched, the more the reality settled in. My family had handed Luna to a stranger in exchange for 2 cracked iPhones belonging to my brother's kids. My jaw clenched so tight it hurt. A notification pinged on my phone. "Tessa. Hey, are you okay?" You didn't show up for our shift today. I stared at the message. Tessa didn't know much about my family, except that they stressed me out. I didn't have the strength to explain yet. Me, family stuff. I'm fine. It was a lie. But I couldn't stop. Not now. Hours passed. The sky outside my window turned from gold to deep blue to pitch black. Midnight crawled in, then 1 a.m., then 2. My eyes burned, but I refused to close them, not until I found her. At some point, maybe 3 a.m. I felt myself drifting, my head dipped, vision blurring. No, not yet. I slapped my cheeks lightly, refocused, refreshed every tab again. Listings kept appearing, all kinds of cats, but none of them were her. Then, at 4:07 a.m., a post popped up. Bella, 1-year-old tabby, rehoming due to time issues. The photo wasn't perfect, but the eyes, those wide amber green eyes, were unmistakable. My heart slammed so hard I almost dropped the laptop. Luna, I whispered. I clicked the listing. No doubt, it was her. Her little white paws, the faint stripe down her nose, even the scratch on her left ear from the time she tried to fight a houseplant I told her not to touch. The poster listed a meetup location and a surprisingly low rehoming fee. Cash only. Public park. Available today. I scrambled to write a message. Me. Is she still available? I can meet anytime. I'll pay more than what you're asking. The reply came in less than 5 minutes. Seller. Yes, she's available. Can you meet this afternoon? My breath caught. Afternoon. That was hours away. Me? Yes, I'll be there. I shut the laptop slowly, hands trembling not from fear this time, but from a spark of something fierce and bright flickering back to life. Hope. But as the sun began to rise behind the blinds, a cold thought crept in. What would my family do if they found out? What would they do if I brought Luna home? My chest tightened. Whatever it was, whatever storm waited downstairs, I didn't care. They had taken something from me, and I was going to take her back, no matter the cost. By noon, my nerves were vibrating under my skin like electric wires. I hadn't slept. I hadn't eaten. The only thing keeping me moving was the image of Luna's face in that listing. I withdrew cash from my savings, more than the seller asked for. I didn't care. I would have emptied my entire account if I had to. When I pulled into the park's gravel lot, my hands were sweating so badly I could barely grip the steering wheel. Families were scattered across the grass, kids running, dogs barking, couples walking together. Then I saw her, a small gray tabby inside a carrier held by a woman in a red jacket. Luna pressed against the front gate, eyes wide, tail thumping anxiously. My breath hitched. Luna. She recognized me before I reached them. Her body stiffened. Then she meowed, loud, frantic, heartbreaking. Her paw slid through the bars as if she was reaching for me. The woman holding the carrier stepped back, startled. Oh, are you Emma? Yeah, I said, my voice cracking. That's my cat. She blinked. Well, Bella, that's what we were told her name was, seems to really like you. That's because her name is Luna, I whispered, crouching down. And she's my girl. The seller bit her lip, looking uneasy. The lady who sold her to us barely stayed long enough to hand her over. Said she needed the cash quickly. I honestly felt weird about it. I swallowed hard. Yeah, I know who she is. I handed the envelope of cash without another word. The woman nodded, relieved. I'm glad she's going back to someone who cares about her. She cried all night. Wouldn't eat. My chest clenched. Oh, Luna, baby. As soon as the carrier door clicked open, Luna leapt into my arms, burying her face against my jacket, trembling. I held her so tight I could feel every tiny heartbeat. I'm sorry, I whispered into her fur. I'm so sorry. I'm never letting you go again. People walking by smiled at the sight, thinking it was sweet. They had no idea it was the first time in 2 days I could breathe. I carried Luna to the car, securing her carrier in the passenger seat. She pressed her nose to the grate, eyes following every movement I made. It's okay, I murmured. We're going home. But the word home tasted wrong. Home wasn't safe. Not for me. Not for her. I pulled into the driveway anyway, pulse thundering. The moment I opened the front door, my mother froze mid-step in the hallway like she'd seen a ghost. What is that? She stammered. I lifted the carrier. What does it look like? Her face drained. You bought the cat back? I stepped past her. No, I bought back what you sold. Jason stormed out of the living room. You're kidding me. Emma, what the hell is wrong with you? Hannah crossed her arms. You're unbelievable. Mom said the buyer didn't want a receipt? So how did you even— The right person always leaves a trail, I said coldly. My father stood slowly, jaw tight. Emma, you're making a mess out of nothing. It's a very— Nothing? I snapped. You sold my cat. Mom's voice rose, sharp and defensive. You didn't have to bring her back. We did what was best for the kids. I stared at her, disgust twisting in my stomach. No, you did what was easiest for you. The room fell silent. Then the shouting began. Jason yelling. Mom screaming. Dad cursing under his breath. But for the first time in my life, I didn't shrink. I didn't fold. I didn't apologize. I walked upstairs, closed my bedroom door behind me, and sat on the floor with Luna curled on my lap. Let them scream. Because deep down I knew something. This wasn't over. And the next battle would be worse. They screamed long after I shut my bedroom door. At first it was muffled, just angry voices blending together, but within seconds, the footsteps started. Heavy, fast, rushing up the stairs like a stampede. Then, bang, bang, bang. Emma, open this door right now, my mother yelled, voice cracking. You don't get to act like this in my house. I kept my back pressed against the door. Luna curled protectively in my arms. Her little body trembled, and I kissed the top of her head. It's okay, I whispered. I've got you. Dad's voice boomed next. Emma, don't make this worse. You embarrassed your mother. I clenched my jaw. Embarrassed her? They sold my cat, and they were worried about their ego? Hannah's voice joined in, dripping with disgust. So, you spent all that money for a stupid cat? Wow. No wonder you're still single. Jason barked a laugh. Seriously, Em, you're 23. Grow up. My palms started sweating from the rage. Not fear, rage. Mom slammed her hand against the door again. You bring that animal back in here and expect us to what? Pretend nothing happened? You undermined us. You stole from me. I shot back. Don't you dare say that, she shrieked. We raised you. We've given you everything. Except basic respect, I muttered. What did you say? Dad demanded. I stood up, still holding Luna, and faced the door as if they could see me on the other side. I said, I repeated slowly, you don't respect me, and you never have. Silence. A dangerous, simmering silence. Then Jason snapped. You know what? Fine. You want to act like a brat? Enjoy the consequences. I heard him stomp down the stairs. 5 minutes later, my phone buzzed. Then stopped. Then buzzed again. My stomach twisted as the notifications popped up. Incorrect Wi-Fi password. Network unavailable. A beat later, my phone flashed. No service. I froze. You're kidding me. I opened my door and leaned over the railing. Did you seriously cut the Wi-Fi? Dad didn't even look ashamed. Actions have consequences. And my phone? I demanded. Jason smirked. Mom called the provider. Your number's off the family plan. I felt something inside me snap clean, sharp, and permanent. So, you sold my cat, I said slowly. And now you're trying to punish me for getting her back? Mom rolled her eyes. Oh, stop acting like a victim. We're trying to teach you responsibility. By cutting off my phone? I scoffed. By changing the Wi-Fi? By reminding you, she snapped, that you live under our roof. I stared at them. Really stared. For the first time, I saw them clearly. They didn't see me as their daughter. They saw me as someone to control, to extract from, to manipulate. I lifted Luna higher in my arms. She meowed softly, sensing the tension. You know what? I said, my voice strangely calm. You just made this a lot easier. Dad frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I turned toward my room. It means I'm done. Mom scoffed. Oh please, where do you think you'll go? You won't last a day without us. I didn't answer, because I already knew the next move. And unlike them, I wasn't going to do it out of spite. I was going to do it to save myself. I didn't leave my room for almost an hour after they cut the Wi-Fi and my phone line. Luna curled against my hip, purring softly, unaware of the war brewing outside my door. My chest still hurt from the yelling, but beneath that pain something else was rising. A cold, focused clarity. They wanted to punish me? Fine. They forgot something. The bank account. The one set up under my name when I was 19 because Mom said, "It'll be easier if we all use one account for household expenses." I hate bothering you for transfers. I believed her. I was stupid. I opened my laptop. Hotspot wouldn't work without cell service. But they forgot I had Luna's pet tablet, an old device with my own data plan. I dug it out from the drawer, connected my laptop through it, and logged into the bank. My stomach dropped. Groceries, Amazon orders, restaurant bills, gas charges, payments to Jason's kids' school programs, hundreds upon hundreds of dollars, all from an account in my name. And then I saw it. A $600 charge labeled Phone Upgrade. I laughed. Actually laughed. A sharp, humorless sound that even scared Luna a little. Phone upgrade. Really? I muttered. You sold my cat and still used my card? I clicked transfer. Typed in the number for my brand new personal account. Selected everything. The screen loaded. And then, transfer complete. Just like that, every penny they'd been draining was gone. A notification pinged immediately. Access revoked. I deleted Mom's name from the authorized users list. Then Jason's. Then Dad's. My heart raced, but not from fear, from something close to justice. Next, I called the bank using the tablet. The representative picked up. "Hi, this is Michelle. How can I help you?" "Hi," I said, steadying my breath. "I need to report several unauthorized transactions from the past few months." I listed every charge they'd made. Michelle listened carefully. "You may be eligible for reimbursement," she said. "We'll investigate. Some of these look clearly unauthorized." A wave of relief hit me, not because of the money, but because for once, someone believed me. When the call ended, I stared at my reflection in the dark laptop screen. I didn't look like myself. I looked stronger, harder, the kind of woman who survives her own family. A crash echoed downstairs, someone slamming a door. Then my mother's shrill scream, "Who locked us out of the account?" I didn't move. I just waited. Footsteps thundered up the stairs. Dad's fist pounded on my door. "Emma, open this door right now." I opened it this time. He stood there, red-faced, breathing heavily. Mom behind him, hair messy, eyes wild. Jason at the bottom of the staircase, practically vibrating with fury. "What did you do?" Mom screeched. "I fixed the account," I said calmly. "That was our money," Jason yelled. "No," I corrected. "It was my account. You were leeching off me." Mom jabbed a finger in my face. "You ungrateful little—" "Don't," I snapped, stepping back. "Don't you dare finish that sentence." Dad's voice dropped dangerously low. "You're playing a dangerous game, Emma." I felt Luna rub against my ankle. I straightened my shoulders. "No," I said quietly. "You are. And you just lost." Their faces twisted shock, rage, disbelief, blending into one ugly expression. Mom shrieked, "You're going to regret this. You hear me? You'll come crawling back when you realize the world doesn't care about you." I shut the door in her face. Then I grabbed my backpack, Luna's carrier, her food, her toys, and my laptop. My hands didn't even shake, because I knew exactly what came next. I wasn't staying another night in that house, and they were about to learn what it felt like to lose the only person who ever kept them afloat. I didn't slam the door when I left. I didn't give them the satisfaction of hearing noise, nothing for them to twist into more drama. I walked down the stairs with Luna in her carrier, backpack slung over my shoulder. My mom stood in the kitchen doorway, arms crossed, face twisted as if I had personally ruined her life. "Where do you think you're going?" she demanded. I didn't look at her. "I'm leaving." Dad scoffed. "For how long? An hour? A night? You'll be back." "Some things it is a paid. Don't count on it," I said quietly. Jason leaned over the banister, smirking. "You're actually running away? Over a cat?" "Seriously, Emma, grow up." I didn't answer. Because the truth was, I wasn't running away. I was finally walking out. I stepped out the front door and closed it gently behind me. The silence outside felt like oxygen after years of choking. I loaded Luna into the passenger seat, climbed in, and drove. I didn't know where I was going at first, just away. Away from that house, those voices, that suffocating air. Halfway down the block, I pulled over and grabbed my phone. Of course. No service. They had cut me off completely. "Unbelievable," I muttered. I switched to the prepaid SIM card I kept for emergencies, a gift from Tessa that I never thought I'd need. The phone lit up, connecting to the network. I opened messages. Me. Hey, can I come over? Just for tonight? Her reply came within seconds. Tessa. Yes. Doors unlocked. Come straight in. I exhaled shakily and drove straight to her apartment. Tessa's place. When I walked in, Tessa was already waiting in the living room, holding 2 mugs of tea. She took one look at me, at my puffy eyes, at the carrier in my hand, and her expression softened. Oh God. Emma. She set the mugs down and stepped closer. What happened? Are you okay? And is that Luna? I nodded. I found her. Tessa's eyes widened. You actually did it? You found her? How? Wait, don't answer that yet. Sit down. I sat on the couch. Luna poked her head out as soon as I opened the carrier, curling onto my lap instantly, seeking warmth like she always did. Tessa placed a blanket around my shoulders. You look like you haven't slept in 3 days. I haven't, I admitted. She sat beside me, voice quiet but steady. Tell me everything. So I did. I told her about the sale, the screaming, the Wi-Fi, the phone line, the bank account, the confrontation, everything. When I finished, Tessa stared at me in stunned silence. That's insane, she whispered. They did all that? Your own family? I swallowed. They never saw me as family, just as a wallet. Tessa clenched her fists. If you need to stay here, stay. I don't care if it's for a week or a month. I'm not letting you go back there alone. Her kindness hit me so hard I nearly cried again. But before I could thank her, my phone buzzed. Mom, where did you go? Come home now. We need to talk. Then, Dad, stop being dramatic. You're making this harder than it needs to be. Then, Jason, over a cat? Are you serious? Then again, Mom, we're worried about you. I stared at the screen. And for the first time, their messages didn't scare me. They didn't control me anymore. Tessa leaned over. Don't answer. I won't. I opened my laptop and began searching for rentals across town, places far enough that they couldn't just show up unannounced. Luna purred softly, her head resting on my thigh. For the first time in years, I felt safe. I didn't know what tomorrow would look like, but I knew one thing for sure. I wasn't going back. Not now. Not ever. 2 days passed at Tessa's place, and for the first time in my life, I woke up without bracing for shouting, footsteps, or someone demanding something from me. Luna slept beside me like she finally trusted the world again, but my phone didn't stay quiet. Every hour, Mom, Dad, Jason, Hannah, texts, missed calls, voicemails, guilt, anger, threats, excuses. By the end of day 2, they had shifted from rage to desperation. Then came the message that made my stomach tighten. Mom, your Aunt Margaret called us. Why would you drag her into this? I hadn't told Margaret yet, but I knew instantly Tessa was right. We'd crossed into dangerous territory. I stood in the kitchen with my phone in hand, debating. Tessa glanced up from the stove. You should call her, she said gently. She won't judge you. I swallowed. I know. I'm just scared she'll tell me to suck it up. That's what everyone else has ever done. Margaret isn't everyone else. She was right. I dialed. A stern but familiar voice answered immediately. Emma? I exhaled shakily. Hi, Aunt Margaret. Come stay with me, she said, no hesitation, no questions. I heard enough. But I haven't told you anything yet. I don't need the details to know your mother did something unforgivable. And something inside me cracked open. I told her everything. Not sugar-coated, not softened, not twisted to protect my family like I usually did. Every scream, every manipulation, every stolen dollar. Every time they made me feel small. Margaret listened in silence, hard, angry silence. When I finished, she said only 2 words. Pack up. Pack up? I repeated. I'm driving down. What are you going to do? She paused, then delivered a sentence that made my pulse spike. Handle it. Margaret arrives. The next morning, I moved my things from Tessa's place and followed Margaret to her house 2 hours away, tucked in a quiet cul-de-sac that smelled like pine and fresh air. She prepared a guest room instantly, even setting out a new bowl for Luna. No questions, no lectures, just presence. That alone almost broke me. Around noon, Margaret walked into the living room, coat already on, a folder tucked under her arm. Don't plan anything after lunch, she said. My stomach nodded. Are you going there? She nodded once. I'll call you when it's done. Done? I echoed. Aunt Margaret, please don't. She raised a hand. You have been their punching bag long enough. I swallowed. Just don't let them twist things. She smiled, sharp, cold, dangerous. They won't twist anything with me. Then she left. The confrontation. My phone began buzzing 90 minutes later. Mom, Dad, Jason. I didn't answer. Then a voicemail came in from Margaret. All handled. I'm on my way back. Before I could process that, the texts from my family rolled in like an avalanche. Mom, you didn't have to send Margaret here. That was low, Emma. Low. Dad. She threatened us. What is wrong with her? Jason. Wow. You're unbelievable. You sent that dragon after us? Then, another from Mom. We didn't deserve that humiliation. I sat on the couch, heart thumping, waiting for Margaret to return. When she walked inside, she hung up her coat calmly, poured herself a cup of tea, and sat at the dining table like she had just come from the grocery store. I approached her slowly. What did you do? Margaret took a sip. Well, I reminded your parents what happens when you cross someone who remembers everything. I blinked. Meaning? She set her cup down. Meaning I listed every manipulative thing they've done to you since high school, every dollar they borrowed, every time they used you. And then I laid out their little stunt of selling your cat. My heart hammered. And, I asked quietly. And, she continued. I told them this. If you contact Emma again without her consent, I will take every detail public, starting with Mark's unpermitted garage renovation and Linda's workplace borrowing. My jaw dropped. You didn't. Oh, I absolutely did, she said, sipping her tea again. Also told Jason that if he harasses you one more time, I'll happily forward screenshots to his employer. HR loves that stuff. I covered my mouth, shaking. They were embarrassed, she added, almost casually. Good. They needed to be. I whispered. Aunt Margaret. Thank you. She reached out, squeezed my hand. You deserved better than them, sweetheart. Now they know it. In that moment, something inside me finally exhaled years of fear, guilt, and internalized obedience melting away. My family had always controlled the narrative. But not this time. This time, someone fought back for me. And the war was finally starting to turn. 3 days passed at Aunt Margaret's house before I realized something strange. My shoulders didn't hurt anymore. For as long as I could remember, I carried tension there like invisible hands gripping me, twisting tighter every time someone in my family yelled, demanded, manipulated, or joked at my expense. But at Margaret's house, the air was quiet, empty of threats, empty of expectations, empty of the constant fear that someone might barge into my room and tell me everything I did was wrong. Luna adjusted instantly. She explored every corner of the living room, curled up in sunbeams, even slept belly up on the guest bed, snoring lightly. I hadn't seen her that relaxed. Ever. One morning, as I brewed coffee, Margaret entered the kitchen with her usual calm confidence. Apartment tour at 10, she said. Wear something comfortable. I blinked. We're going today? You found 4 listings. Let's see if any of them are worthy of you. My throat tightened. Nobody had ever used the word worthy for me. Not without sarcasm or accusation. We visited places all over town, some too small, some too old, one that smelled like wet socks and regret. But the last one, a tiny loft apartment on the 2nd floor, old wooden floors, tall windows, sunlight everywhere. A little worn, a little crooked, just like me. I could imagine Luna perched on the windowsill. I could imagine myself sitting on the floor, editing photos on my laptop, completely alone and completely free. I want this one, I said softly. The landlord looked up. You sure? Don't you want a day to decide? No, I said. I've been deciding for years. We signed the lease. Moving day. Margaret helped me carry boxes up the narrow stairs. Luna supervised from her carrier, meowing her approval or judgment. I couldn't tell. By the time we finished, sweat clung to my neck, and my chest felt light in a way I'd never experienced. Margaret stood in the doorway, arms crossed. Don't give anybody your address. Not until you're ready. I won't. You're stronger than they want you to believe. I swallowed the sudden lump in my throat. Thank you. For everything. She leaned in, kissed my forehead. Build a life they don't get to ruin. Then she left. The apartment fell quiet. Soft. Safe. Luna hopped out of her carrier and did her little signature trot around the room before climbing into my lap. We did it, I whispered. She purred, eyes half closed. The last attempt. That night, my phone rang. Mom. Of course. I let it go to voicemail. But curiosity tugged, so I listened. Emma, sweetheart. Look, we may have overreacted. Families fight, it happens. But you leaving? This is too far. We can work this out. Please come home so we can talk like adults. The kids miss you. The kids? They never cared about me. They cared about the phones. Then she delivered the signature blow. We forgive you. Just come home. A laugh escaped my lips. Forgive me? For rescuing what they stole? I deleted the voicemail. Blocked her. Blocked Dad. Blocked Jason. Blocked Hannah. For the first time in my life, I felt powerful. 3 months later, the apartment wasn't perfect. Sometimes the radiator hissed like a snake. Sometimes the neighbor upstairs dropped dumbbells at 6 a.m. Sometimes I burned dinner because the stove ran too hot, but it was mine. I worked remotely now for a new company far away from my old life. I picked up a photography class downtown. I took Luna on walks in her little harness, and strangers cooed at her like she was royalty. At night, I sat on the floor with her curled in my lap, editing photos, sipping tea, listening to the peaceful hum of the city outside. No yelling, no door slams, no footsteps pacing the hall waiting to criticize me. No manipulation disguised as love. Just quiet. Just peace. Sometimes I wondered who I would have been if my parents had loved me instead of controlling me. But the thought always faded. Because the truth was simple. If they had ever cared, I wouldn't be here. And I'm glad I am. I looked at Luna sleeping on the couch, paws twitching in a dream. I reached out, stroked her soft head. We're home, I whispered. This time, the word didn't feel wrong. It felt perfect. Peace was strange, but it was finally mine.